Okay, rocket continues. Let's go. This is the third video, and we're going to try and get through creating a center core for this rocket for the motor, and also split the cone and split the rocket since I need to be able to print it essentially in three pieces. So let's get started. I might point out that I've already assessed my rocket and decided I'm probably going to cut the nose right here. And then I'll probably cut the rocket right about here, okay? So maybe I'll kind of do that part of this first, which is you're going to need to add a plane. And you're just going to choose the first of the options to make planes. And I say this to everybody all the time. This is the difference between somebody who really learns how to 3D model and someone who never does, which is you got to get used to making planes when you need them. And knowing how to create them helps tremendously. But the plane offset, the first one, will work in this case because you can see it's just going to be a parallel identical plane to the ground plane in this case. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it up, and you can see it's pulling it up 7, almost 8 inches. And that's about perfect for the 3D printer. I'd like to keep each piece of the rocket under 8 inches just to be safe. So I may choose, in this case, 7.75. Or maybe 7.5. We'll see what that looks like. That should be good right about there. I should be able to live with that, okay? I'm going to do it again. So another plane, offset. And in this case, I'm going to put in the one where I'm going to slice this nose cone. And I can see I'm liking it probably right around 13.25. Yeah, that'll work. Now, before I do that slicing, I'm going to move to the motor part here. And I want to talk about that because I'm going to show you something. So we all measured a bunch of the motors, and we're going to look at that data. But essentially, what it will tell us is that 0.7 inches is what we need. It should. We'll see. We could change it if it's not true. But we're going to protect for 0.7 inches is how big of a hole we need in here to get the rocket engine in there. And it should hold it pretty snugly, but not too tight. So if I measure my diameter here at the bottom, you'll see I'm only a hair bigger than that. And so I need, ideally I have at least 0.1 inches of wall thickness around this rocket motor, and I need to widen that out. So I want to show you that. For most of us, we have the outline that we created. I named mine the main body outline. I'm going to double click it. And I just need to go down here and dimension this line. Okay, you can actually see that that is not a straight line. I didn't get that straight. So let me fix that, okay? I want that to be straight like that. I'm just going to end it right there. And then the other trick in here is this little extension. If I pick the extend, I should be able to pick that. And then I can pick that point. And it's not going to do it. All right, I'm going to hit escape. Because there's another way for me to do this, which is just grab this line. It's actually not working. I think what I'll do here is I'm going to delete that rule and also delete that rule. Now I should just be able to click that down. There we go. And now I should be able to dimension it. Okay, so if I'm going to have 0.1 all the way around, um, then we're going to need zero point 0.9 inches in diameter here at the bottom, or in this case, 0.45, half that. And I'm going to hit escape, and now I can kind of lower this to where I wanted it. There it is. Now, hopefully, oops, I didn't, I don't know if that took. Yeah, see all that work I did? Here, I'm going to restore it. There it is. Good. Now I hit the green check mark. Good. And so mine was able to update. Um, and I'm just going to measure it now. There we go. 0.9 exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and pick on this bottom. And I can sketch on it. And I can offset. And I'm going to offset that whole profile like this. And I should be able to type this in. So if I pull this over and double click on it, I should be able to type in 0.1. You see that now? And I'm going to do that and just check it. And let's get a measurement. That's 0.7. There we go. So some of you may have guessed, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Well, no, not really. So that I could select on this and extrude. And I don't want to extrude really, do I? I want to hit over here, remove. And this is where this could get a little funky. I'm about to see what's going to happen here. Because what I'm going to do is pull that extrude all the way up. You see how this plane didn't get put where I thought it was? Isn't that interesting? I'll show you how to fix that. All the way up to where I'm going to have my nose cone. So you see that's 15.88. I'm going to go ahead and just go with 16. And then this plane, I'm just going to also edit. So that wasn't going to be 13, that was going to be 16. And now those two match exactly. Okay, so let me show you kind of, you'll see the fins in here, and they didn't get carved out. I could have actually done that too while I was here by just picking what is the merge scope. I click in there. I can click the 4 fins that I created. Eventually, I want them to be booleaned, meaning unioned, all to create one body down here. And I haven't done that yet, but you can see the faintest outline of those now cut all the way through down the rocket. Let me take a section view of this. That way now you can kind of see it, all right? Okay, it looks pretty good. I was concerned that it might have gotten too narrow at some point, but it doesn't look too bad to me right there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for right now and then talk about these next 2 elements. So to start splitting this to make the nose cone, we'll go ahead and just do it. So if you go up here to the split tool, here it is, split, and it will say, what do you want to split? And I'm clicking on the rocket body, and then entity to split with, it's going to be the plane. I'm going to keep both the tool because it turns one side into a tool. So I do want to keep both sides here, and it will separate out the 2 parts now. I can come over down here and delete the lower rocket body or the upper rocket body. I suspect when I delete the lower one, I should see that it's just a little bit, see how that went up a little bit higher in the extrude. I can deal with that. That's fine. So I need that to be open underneath because the charge of the engine, there's a little parachute deploying charge that will fill this whole rocket body tube with gas, and it should pop that top off. And what I want to do is, again, I'm going to go to the section view this time, front plane, okay? And I'm going to show that. So this is currently what we have. I actually have two section views here. I'm going to take one off. There we go. It's okay, and it's a good idea to model sometimes in the section view. Let's clarify. It is on the side plane in this case, okay? So I really need a feature which will put these two together. And I just so happen to know a pretty fast trick which can probably get this done for us, which is actually move face. If I move this face downward, it may not let it happen. But there's another way to do this, okay? So let me show it to you. Sometimes the moves face to us fast and easy. I could just pick this, right? Extrude it. And that's really what I want right there, okay? And I want to add, in this case, and merge scope, I want to add, in the merge scope, I want to add that feature to the cone. So I highlight that, I click on it, done. So now you have an idea of the kind of geometry we need to get this a snug fit. Now, let me point out, this is going to be too tight. Since the 3D print is going to swell up almost every single dimension, we should be putting an offset in here. But I'm tempted to not leave it and let you guys sand these by hand just to get them just snug enough, because that'll be something you have control over. And one other feature I would probably want to add here is a chamfer, just to make sure it's easy to get this on. Probably 0.5 would be enough. 0.5. You know, just a slight chamfer like that. Okay. Lastly, before I finish this video for today, is I mentioned that we want to also split this for assembly so we can print it at this intersect, or this plane right here. So I'm going to split, and again, it's going to be this rocket body and entity to split with. It's going to be that plane. I do want to keep both. Okay, so we're going to have to get a little fancier here to think about how we want these. If I 3D printed them like this, I'd have to just glue those faces, and that's not going to be reliable. That's not going to turn out well, even if we use the expensive plastic glues that we can get access to. That's not going to work right. So you want a lip. You want to have some kind of feature in here that's going to retain this. And I'll try and do this really quick before we leave for today. And I'll show it to you. How I would go about doing it. I'm going to stay in the section view here. I'm going to go ahead and sketch. And I mentioned it's on the right plane in this case. And here's what I'm going to suggest. One, I like the use tool, and I'm going to use it in this case. You can use any feature in the background on your sketch plane. And I want those lines right there. And then I'm really just going to do this 2-point rectangle. I'm going to come up to, probably back out a little bit, make sure I'm getting about the right. I'm going to do a feature like this, okay? I'm going to go ahead and dare to also make it 0.125. In length there, that's a 1/8 of an inch for people paying attention, and I guess 1 inch total. That'll work. How about that right there? And Then I'm actually going to go back into that. I need to make sure when I do this that I'm getting an intersection in this body. Sometimes that doesn't happen when they're line to line, so I'm just going to come in here and put a interference here and then trim this out. And I'll try and explain this to you guys to avoid any issues here. I'm going to do this on mine. There we go. So now I should have this L-shaped closed profile that I can pick. And then I can rotate it. I can revolve it again. And I'm going to revolve it about the center axis. There we go. And I want to join that and add it to this upper portion of the rocket body, which I'm just going to go over here and pick from the left. There we go. Now it's going to choke. You can see it's going to kind of choke the air in this, but I'm thinking that we should be okay if I chamfer this up. And that's a little too much, so I'm going to pull that back. There we go. And I can even make that less restrictive, I think, if I change it right to a 0.1, 0.3. There we go. And I can do that up here as well. I'm just going to click on it. Yeah, I think that'll work. Oops. Chamfer that again, guys. Sorry. All right, so it was that one and that one. And it was a 0.1. It's a 0.1 and 0.3 two distant chamfer. Not bad. I think that looks pretty good. Now, this is also going to be one where you're going to see that arguably is going to be a little too tight. But once again, maybe we leave it for right now without any adjustment for offset and see if we can just sand that and get that as tight as we need it to be. Okay, that's enough, I think, for right now. Happy modeling.